And this is a burning scene here from Nash County, North Carolina. It's the county where I grew up. Picture taken in 1926. And this shows the people who you would see at what's called the scaffold. The men, most of the men in the photograph work in the fields, and they come in to pose for this photograph. The women standing beside these little, what are called stringing horses, where they're tying tobacco on sticks, they are called stringers. And some of the other people standing around hand them bundles of 3 or 4 leaves, and they tie those onto sticks. The kids sitting up on the racks, one of those is probably the trucker who drives the mule back and forth to the field. And they're sitting on a rack where after you tie the tobacco on sticks, the sticks are put on these racks until the end of the day. And then the sticks are passed into the barn where they're hung on tier poles. So this is a photograph of people in the field priming tobacco, taking 2 or 3 leaves off the stalk at a time. Tobacco ripens from the bottom of the stalk to the top, so every week several leaves will become ripe and take those off. Here's a view of women stringing, and it was usually women who did this. And they were very proud of what they did, because they had to be very quick to take the bundles from people. They had to be good at turning the string and tying it onto the stick. And when the stick was tied, they had to make sure that it was tied securely, because if the tobacco fell off in the barn, it could get a hot flue and burn the barn down. So a very responsible position. Then you hung the tobacco in the barn. You had a bottom tier, down the bottom, and you see 2 feet up at the top. That person's hanging top tier. The barn had been stewing in the sun all day, so the temperature up there was extremely hot. After you took the tobacco out of the barn, when it was cured, you put it in a pack house, and then when the season was over, we'll go into the grading of it in just a minute. But burning tobacco brought family, neighbors, owners, tenants, sharecroppers, black, white, young, old, men, and women together. They shared gossip, news, sweat, fatigue, Pepsis, moon pies, and meals. The mix of workers encouraged jokes, flirting, and desire. Boys pursued manhood by advancing from hamming to trucking to priming and climbing the tier poles to hang tobacco. Girls pursued womanhood by moving from handers to stringers, and some went to the field to prime, and some climbed the tier poles, the same as men. The workday lasted from dawn till dusk. Tobacco was one of the most labor-intensive of crops. Women, as we've seen, played a crucial role in the tobacco production. And in addition to housework and caring for their families, they weeded plant beds, chopped weeds in the fields, wormed, topped, suckered, worked at the scaffold handing, stringing, and passing sticks of tobacco into the barn. They cooked for large crews, and at the end of the season, some women went to market to witness the auction, for that pile of tobacco represented a whole year's work. After you had the tobacco put on the stick, you had to take the tobacco off the stick, which this woman's doing. This is cured. And then you had to grade each leaf to make sure you had the right grade. And then you tied it into what are called hands, a bundle that you'll see more of later. But these are pictures here of people grading and tying the tobacco into hands. Now we're into Walcott's photographs. After you got your tobacco graded and tied, you hauled it to market any way you could. So when the markets opened in 1939, farmers were eager for cash. So they had some graded tobacco they would carry in to get the first money of the season. After farmers unloaded their tobacco, they put it on pallets, little wooden things. They had it weighed, and then they put it on the warehouse floor. Given the intensity of the barney and grading tobacco season, a trip to Durham or other market towns offered an opportunity to talk with other farmers, have a drink of liquor, listen to music, buy goods sold in profusion around the warehouse district, or, as Leonard said, chase women. The lead cafe owner, Adam Tinsley, told Leonard Rapport, quoting him, "Tobacco farmers are the best people in the world to do business with. They work the whole year, come to town, sell their crop, they want to drink a little whiskey, have a little fun." Ending his quote. 3 of the warehouses had cafes, and there were also 3 other cafes in Durham, in this area of town. The larger cafes had a section segregated for African Americans. Wardrobe is one of the most telling features of these photographs. For farmers in new overalls, nice hats, and leather jackets, you had that compared to the coat and tie buyers and auctioneers. And sometimes you had imaginatively dressed pitchmen. African Americans moved through many of these photographs, suggesting both how close and how far apart black and white Southerners lived. While cafes, hotels, camp rooms, and water fountains were segregated, black and white farmers shared Durham's bustling streets and auction floors, much as they navigated the fields and scalpels back home. Some farmers simply took whatever purse that was necessary they could find to catch a nap. This is in a camp room, and this is just out on the warehouse floor. These are a few more of the camp room photographs. This is where Marion Post Walcott and Leonard Rapport were during that evening. During these busy days, Rapport observed, shooting galleries, medicine shows, sidewalk preachers, string bands, 10-cent photographers, beggars, flim-flammers, all established themselves along Rigsby Avenue or on its cross streets. He vividly described the warehouse district in the evening, and this is quoting Leonard Rapport. "All during the night, warm for November, the streets are alive with men. The cafes are filled. Shooting galleries and fruit stands stay open until 1 or 2 or later. There's movement of men, walking, riding, and all-night stirring. Slow talk, laughter, lights, shouts of drunks, music of guitars, radios, shouting of doormen, the rumble of a heavy truck on a wooden drive." Then he started commenting about the jukeboxes that were there, which he said some people called them nickel-in-the-slot phonographs or piccolos. And he said the songs being played this particular summer were "A Tisket, a Tasket," "The Great Speckled Bird," "Birmingham Jail," and what he thought was the favorite, "It Makes No Difference Now." Farmers hung out near these warehouses. It was a time to talk with other farmers, have a good time, exchange information. When I asked Leonard Rapport what farmers bought after the sales, he said, in his words, "The guy went out and bought enough clothes for the winter and clothes for the kids for school. And he might go by the liquor store and buy some liquor, and occasionally spend some on a female." Prostitutes did not hang out around the warehouses because it was a district of respectability, in spite of the carnival-like atmosphere we had there. But then Leonard added, "I think that you had the whorehouses or whatever, and the guys learned where they were. And once they got money in their pocket and got enough to drink, they went to them." Prostitutes favored midtown hotels and rooming houses, but Durham had no Sugar Hill, the notorious Kinston, North Carolina neighborhood that was famous for prostitution. There was space for respectable young women in these the festivals and beauty contests, parades, and boosterism that infected the market towns. These are not Walcott photographs.